Hello and welcome back to Proactive New York. I'm Christine Corrado. With me right now is Dennis Calvert, CEO at BioLargo. Dennis, good to see you. How are you?
Hey, Christine, good to see you. I'm great. Glad to be here.
Dennis, it's been 6 years in the making from my understanding. You've completed the manufacturing of your first ever commercial scale AOS water treatment unit, which has been shipped out to Montreal for testing there. This is the commercial scale version. So what can you expect researchers to actually test it on?
Well, the pilot is, these pilots are commercial pilots. The process really is to take what we know already works because we've proven it in the lab, build it to scale, demonstrate that we can move high volume flows, show the industry that it's scalable. As you look at the images, you'll see that those horizontal tubes, all you need to do really is add more tubes and you can produce more water. So imagine you could actually put a whole building of them to treat massive flows of water. So this is a scalable technology. The AOS, Advanced Oxidation System, AOS, Advanced Oxidation System. It's really a destruction technology, and its key value proposition is this extremely capable destruction of micropollutants, which are these synthetic chemicals that get trapped in water, right? And we do it at extraordinarily low energy. So this is a technology that's now received 80 federal grants. It's about 6 years of work. It's proven effective. It's safe. It creates no side problems through its use. We've already validated it through third-party studies. Now it's going to go into a commercial trial where it's going to be run through the paces to high volume. So what really are we after? We're after the third-party validation, number one. And number two, the costing. What does it take to maintain? What's the performance metric? Is it an economic viable solution? Of course, we know it is, but really to penetrate the industry in a meaningful way, you got to show up with data done to a high quality standard by third-party researchers. So this is really a showcase. This technology is being called a technical breakthrough, and it's taken a long time. This idea was first conceived over 6 years ago, and it's the most elegant, simple explanation, right? Is that it's an electrochemical reactor that generates this super potent reaction. So as water flows through it, it just destroys contaminants lickety split. How's that for a science term? Lickety split. It's pretty cool.
So the unit itself can treat up to 100 gallons of wastewater per minute. So what kind of customers would you expect to actually use it?
Well, this is the pilot that we're talking about in Montreal is wastewater treatment. So this is full-scale municipal wastewater. And so that would be a really high volume, right? So in order to deploy that system, you would add those horizontal tubes to do more volume. It's really that simple. But the market is much bigger than wastewater, right? You got industrial wastewater, you got industrial produced water, which is interesting. I mean, really, the way to think about this is it's an advanced destruction technology. It's called an AOP, advanced oxidation process. And it would compete with things like ozone and even chlorine and hydrogen peroxide, all sorts of really interesting techniques. But in each case, when we do a side-by-side comparison, our performance exceeds those. That's the trick, right? So as we always say, if we don't think it's number one, we're not going to do it. So we're presenting this technology as a number one contender for micropollutants in the world. That is the thesis of our entire investment. If it wasn't, why would we spend 6 years? I mean, it's an incredible work, right? And a very difficult market to break into. But this has a chance to really revolutionize the way that water is managed around the world. And so it's a very exciting. And again, the testimony is, look, 80 grants, 80. It's just an astonishing accomplishment to have survived, built it, scaled it, now going into the marketplace. And remember, we also have our first customer.
Yes. And I know that the intention is also to eventually add AEC technology to actually remove PFAS in water, which is very dangerous. So how close are you to doing that?
Well, so we have technical evidence to support its claim for the AEC that was developed by our engineering group. We're heading into commercial trials, not to be confused with AOS. They're kind of complementary. One is a destruction technique. The other is a collection technique. PFAS is particularly difficult to destroy. Remember that those are chemical compounds that were created so that nature can't break them down. They're persistent, they're cumulative, they're very difficult to manage. And of course, they're not healthy. So there's a lot of uproar about PFAS all over the world. So our strategy is to introduce the AEC as a collection technique as the most efficient way to extract and remove PFAS from large bodies of water, okay? So that's all happening now. We've got 3 pilots committed. We're building units. we're validating data, and we're going to scramble really to get into the field with a commercial scale unit. So it's happening as we speak.
Excellent. And before I let you go, you will be presenting to investors at Proactive's one-to-one virtual event on January 26th. What should be the takeaway for those watching?
Well, we'd encourage everybody to watch because we do a little deeper dive, right? So we'll summarize year-end revenues, which are record-breaking. We've reported that before, but we are closing the book, so we'll have those final numbers. We'll also review some of the key milestones, which are really dramatic. Remember about the company, it's not a one-trick pony. We have an environmental group, we have a medical group, we've been innovating for a decade. We have multiple assets now coming to market, all proven, all commercially viable. And now little bitty incremental improvements are exponential for the company. So this is a very exciting time for the company, an extraordinarily long development cycle, and a lot of work. So we always say we've done the hard work, and the guys who do the hard work get the prize, and we see the prize in sight. So it's a very exciting time for BioLargo.
Yes, and investors who want to watch can tune in at 1 p.m. EST on January 26th. Dennis, thanks so much.
Hey, thank you. Go BioLargo.